of channelinginc.com. Today I have the most fantastic thing I'm going to be doing with you. I'm going to actually teach you how to channel crystals. So if you're watching this video, take 2 seconds right now, just go ahead and pause it. Go grab a crystal, come right back. You don't need many, you don't need a whole bunch, but you do need one. Instead of just watching this video, just take a moment, pause this video, go grab a crystal, because what I'm going to do with you, instead of just talking about crystals, I'm actually going to walk you through how to connect with them, how to get messages from them, all that cool stuff. So if you haven't done so, go grab a crystal, and I'll see you when you get right back. All right. So a little bit about crystals. They're not just hunks of rock. They actually can have amazing like healing properties and other qualities about them that make them fantastic for spirituality, for all sorts of different modalities, or just because they're awesome. They're awesome to work with. I love them. I get super excited around crystals, and they're just super fun to play with. They're light, and they're very like fairy energy kind of stuff. So what you can do is, if you haven't gotten a crystal yet, just go ahead and pause this video, then go grab one, come right back, because I'm actually going to walk you through this, and you'll get way more out of it if you actually experience this with me rather than just listening to this video. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to get you to do, if you have a crystal with you, just go ahead and put it down. So I'm going to put mine down, and then I'm going to have you like feel your hand. So feel your hand, but don't do anything with it. Just feel what it feels like. Okay, and what I'm doing here is I'm having you get a baseline of what your hand feels like with nothing in it. So just hold your hand, feel what it feels like. Okay, and remember this. And then the biggest thing about channeling is getting yourself out of the way. So anything you think you know about this crystal that you have on the counter or table, wherever it is, just pretend like you know nothing about nothing to do with it. Okay, just put everything you think you know about it out of your mind, and we're going to start fresh. So then what I'm going to get you to do is, now that you have the feeling of your hand, I'm going to get you to go ahead and pick up this crystal and just feel the crystal in your hand. And I do recommend you just close your eyes for a moment and allow any messages that come from the crystal to come to you. Allow what its purpose is, what its function is, how it can truly help and assist you. Okay, so go ahead and do this now. Okay. And now what I'm going to get you to do is, I'm actually going to get you to put the crystal back down. So I want you to remember what you felt, but I'll get you to put it back down. And now what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to do two things. I'm actually going to clear your crystal, and then I'm going to amplify it. Okay, so sometimes some crystals, they need like clearing, there might be a little bit murky or not quite as clear as they can be. So let's clear that energy. And then some crystals, they need like amplification. So they're kind of dormant. And what I'm going to do with it right now is like really awaken it, make it to its fullest potential. Okay, so don't do anything right now. Just give me 2 seconds. I'm going to do these two things. Okay, so here we go. So first thing I'm going to do is clear it. Here, wait, 3, 2, 1. Let's do this. Okay, and the second thing I'm going to do is amplify it to its maximum potential. So let's go do this. So amplify it. Okay. And any of you watching at home, you're welcome to try this. Try clearing your crystal, or a different one now, because I've already done this specific one, but try a different one. And then also try like really like lighting it up, like amplifying it so it's fully active. So now what I'm going to get you to do is, remember how your crystal felt before. And now I'm going to get you to pick it up and feel how your crystal feels now. So go ahead and do this and see if you notice a difference. It should feel clearer, and it should feel stronger, more prominent. Go ahead and do this now. Okay. So two things on that. One is sometimes some crystals, they don't need much clearing. So you might not notice a difference on the clearing part. And another thing is some crystals are already amplified, so you don't need to do much amplifying. If you notice a difference though, that means your crystal needed clearing and needed amplification. Okay, so you did what I call psychometry. That was at the very beginning, where I had you just feel and hold the crystal and then get messages directly from an object. So you can do this on any kind of object. You can do it on, uh, you know, something that's glass or wood, or some different materials have different properties, and you're able to get information from them directly using psychometry and stuff like that. So what you can do though is some crystals, so not all of them, but some of them actually have what's called a crystal deva that's associated with that crystal. So what you can do in more advanced training is, and what I do with my students is I teach them how to first of all identify if that crystal has a crystal deva associated with it, and then how to connect and communicate with that crystal deva to get even more information about what this crystal really, really, really does. Okay, so this is more advanced techniques, but the thing I want you to know is that just because a crystal doesn't have a crystal deva associated with it, it can still be super powerful. It can still do amazing things for that individual, and don't discount it because it can still be amazing. And what there are like there is information out there like on the internet or in books about crystals and what each crystal does and what their function is, and some of it might be accurate, some of it might not be. So what I teach my students to do is how to actually, what I just did with you now, is how to get information directly from the crystal, from the source, to find out what it really does. And I also want to make something else clear, is that let's say there's 10 people in a row and you give them all the same exact crystal. Is that crystal necessarily going to help every single one of those individuals with the exact same thing? It might, or it might be do slightly different things for each individual, or it might do, let's say, three things for every single individual, plus two or three other things for this first one, and two or three other things for the second one, plus three or four other things for the third one, plus one or two for the other one, but and so on and so on. So it could vary depending on the individual who is holding the crystal and what they need, and what's appropriate for them. And oftentimes what I found with crystals, speaking of holding them, is most of the time crystals you actually need to hold them. So um, like just having them in the area can help depending on what kind of crystal it is, but most crystals you need to physically touch them. And that's why, like, bracelets are good, necklaces are good, and stuff like that. Or like for any men or gentlemen out there, or even ladies, is having them in your pocket, and then every time like I'm walking around and I'm like, oh yeah, I have a crystal in there, I reach in my pocket, I pull it out, and I physically touch it, hold it for a bit, put it back in. There's a lot more to crystals than this. Like you can find out, like figure out, okay, well, this crystal maybe wants to be in the sunlight, and this other crystal maybe wants to be in a plant. This crystal wants to be in the living room, or this crystal wants to be in your purse, or on you for a while, stuff like that. So you can find out things like that. And this is where it gets really exciting, is you can also some crystals you're not meant to have forever. Like some of them maybe you are, but other ones might be just for a season. Like you're just meant to be like, okay, I need this crystal. It's for me. I'm going to utilize it. I'm going to hold it maybe every day for the next 2 weeks. And then after that 2 weeks, it's like, oh, I'm good. And then you're done. The crystal did what it needed to do, and you're welcome to go ahead and gift it to someone else or do whatever you want with it. So sometimes people like get so attached to their crystals and they never want to get rid of them. I'm like, no, no. If it served its purpose, bless someone else with it, and pass it along. So my name's Ken Lewicki of channelinginc.com. There's way more to this. I teach all this stuff, full entire channeling curriculum, 50 plus pages of how to channel everything you could possibly imagine, including crystals. Have a wonderful day, everyone.